Hi there, welcome back. My name is Dean, and here we are. Here you are. Here I am. Here everybody is. It's all relative. Anyway, busy show for you today, and we've got lots going on. Lachlan Cross is back as well. Ryan Lindley is here too, and we've brought in an ace. It's kind of like the trade deadline when you're like, hey, we need to bolster the bench. And as always, what we do is when we bring guests in, the one rule is they have to be way smarter than us, which isn't hard. That's why we have a lot of guests. But please welcome. What's that?
Daily.
Yeah, it's just
we managed to find people.
That means every day, Dean.
He's a journalist. He's an author. He is a podcaster. He's an academic. I think we can call you a doctor because you got a doctorate. Please welcome. He's one of my favorite follows, one of my favorite journalists. Please welcome David Moscrop to the program today, everybody.
Thank you very much. You can, but you shouldn't call me.
Why?
You know, I just, whenever I hear someone call an academic doctor, I just think that sort of person that gets a PhD and then puts it on their credit card.
Yeah.
I got to put on my scene card.
My rule is, if you wouldn't stand up on a plane when someone says they're a doctor, then just.
Yeah. I did that once.
That's for me. I have colleagues who quite rightfully, like especially women and racialized folks, who are like, no, I earned this goddamn thing, and I'm constantly talked down to. I'm going to own it, and I respect that.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm just like, just call me Dave or D Money if you prefer. Which I can't remember.
D Moss. We call you D Mizzy, Dizzy, Dizzy.
Moose was my football name. I played football briefly in high school, like poorly, because I was big.
Yeah.
I was like 6'1" and 225 pounds. So like you. On the line, just let people run into you. All right, and it was high school football in Peterborough, in Ontario, and so it was like your offense and defense. Just stand there and get hit for an hour.
So are you the only academic doctor from Peterborough ever, or are there more?
There are.
That was it.
More. Well, it has a university, so it depends what you mean by from Peterborough, because Trent
is it in a strip mall.
People.
Like is the University of Peterborough in a strip mall? There's a question.
And a college. Peterborough is really weird because it's got it's really progressive. It's got a progressive university. It's got a college. It's got a lot of young people, and it's a retirement town, and it's surrounded by farmland and small towns, Norwood, that kind of. And so you get a real weird mix of people. Real weird.
Everybody I've met from Peterborough, and I've met a few, are really
talks
good
about Neil
guys.
Young.
No. Really good people. Like, just like
awesome.
Shirt off your back kind of people.
For sure.
If you didn't work at Quaker Oats, you worked at the racetrack in Peterborough. That was
or Moffat. You worked for Moffat as well, right? Yeah. So Peterborough is like one of the hardest working towns. My folks lived there for a long time. And just the little city is beautiful. It's a great spot, but you're right. It's super eclectic. But getting back to your academic record, again, coming from Peterborough, let's have a look at this. You've got your Doctor of Philosophy at the University of British Columbia. I say you use that. I say you use doctor every chance you get. University of Ottawa, you got your master's degree in political science.
I don't know why it's on there twice. I really wanted to make sure people knew. I'm super insecure about that. I don't even remember the dates. Sometime between 2007 and 2009.
Yeah, but that's a shitload of school.
Yeah,
like how long does it take for you to get your doctorate? Because you're not just like you don't just have your doctorate in philosophy. You've also got a couple of like postdoctorate degrees, and it's like an ongoing thing for you. Like most people are usually done by 25, but like. In your 30s, you're still going to school. Obviously, you have to be smart enough to be able to get those certificates and diplomas and doctorates. But no, honestly, like, do you love school?
You got to grind it out is what it is. At some point, it's not even about being smart. It's just about being able to grind it out, right? Because I did my undergrad, then I did a master's degree, then I taught in Korea for, 18 months. And then I went back and did a PhD, and then I did 2 postdocs. And so I did it a long time. And at some point, it's just like, okay, I know how this works. I know what the formula is. Very few people fail if they put in the time. They just got to sit there and grind it out. And you got to want it because it's a lot of work. But, it's just lots of people can do it. But I loved it because I'm like, oh, they're gonna give me money, kind of shit money, but money to read books and to talk about things and to think about things. And that was awesome. That was a sweet deal. I loved it, and I'm done with it now. And in fact, during the pandemic, I missed learning. So I'm like, I miss doing lectures. I miss reading books for the purpose of blah blah blah. So I'm like, I need something. I need a class. And then I found you can do like a whiskey certification, like a kind of whiskey sommelier thing. I'm
Now
like,
we're
I'm back
talking.
to school. I'm going to booze school. That's where I should have been all along. I'm going to become.
That's for us, Lachlan.
Did you do
That's
it? Did
for
you do
us.
it? Did you
Yeah,
go to
I'm doing
booze?
it right now? It's like a 2-stage thing. Stage 1 is a theoretical thing. Stage 2 is the tasting thing. You actually have to either go to Scotland or to Kentucky to do the actual tasting thing. I'm like, this is
See,
amazing.
Lachlan and I would get the advanced track. We'd go right to the tasting. 'cause
Yeah, we
yeah.
might get skipped
No,
past phase
Yeah,
1.
we skip
Yeah, but
the grade.
and just so you know, David, I think if you're going to be a whiskey sommelier, it's part of the deal is spitting it out, right? Like you got to taste it and spit. Oh no, you get to drink. The whole thing.
Well, I mean, it depends what kind of person you are.
Yeah.
Alcoholic. Locke is going to drink it all. And he's going to say
Yeah.
this would go nice with a Coke.
Yeah, it's funny. So I thought about this a lot, and because my father was an alcoholic, and it was like deeply problematic, and it's tough, right? And eventually it more or less killed him, and so it was actually quite sad. But so now, as a person and as someone who enjoys drinking, I'm always thinking like, okay, where's the line, and when does it become problematic?
Yeah.
And whenever I move, I have to move all my whiskey, and I've got like 40 or 50 bottles, and I move it, but I think, oh no, the bottles are mostly full. Right? It's when I say
what a
that
problem.
I'm living with my girlfriend, and I'm like, there's a lot of whiskey coming, but it's when the bottles are empty that you got to worry. These are all full.
Yeah. If you need help getting to the corner for recycling day,
let them know.
You got a problem.
We got a hand truck.
We're of the same ilk. My father drank too much, doesn't drink anymore. I drank too much, stopped drinking 5 years ago because of the same reason, and I can attest to that. Is that you would think if you went to the home of someone with a drinking problem, he would have lots of booze. There is literally nothing. There's just empties kind of being hid in the rafters and underneath. When I moved, it's a great story. When I moved out of that house after I stopped drinking, it was like 2 years after I stopped drinking. I found 21 empty bottles of stuff just kind of hanging around, and I'm like, there's probably a red flag there. I'm thinking.
Just too drunk to see it.
Now you see it. I know. Like, I remember clearing out my dad's house and finding a bottle of Gibson stashed somewhere, and it's just like,
it's horrible whiskey too.
I was like, exactly. It's like it's bad enough. But it was, even that's what it is, right? It's deeply, deeply sad. It's something I'm like deeply, deeply conscious of, but I gotta say, all in all, the takeaway, I'm gonna drink the whiskey.
Attaboy. Yeah, I would too. David Moscrop is our guest. How do you describe what it is you do? I mean, 2022, a journalist isn't really a journalist. You're a journalist for the Washington Post. You're a journalist for the Globe and Mail, two of the most venerable outlets when it comes to delivering real information, real news, thought-provoking stuff. If you've read any of David's stuff, you know where he comes from. He's not just an author. And I just ordered this book. I should be getting the next couple of days. It's called Too Dumb for Democracy: Why We Make Bad Political Decisions and How We Can Make Better Ones. Locke, you're going to love this hour with David because he's on the tip, and he's also got a great podcast. I listened to it today. It's called Open to Debate with David Moscrop, available anywhere you get your fine podcast. But before we get into democracy, selling indulgences, before we get into what is Pierre Poilievre, how do you describe what it is that you do as a journalist? And I mean, this is only really the success that you've had as a journalist south of the border here in Canada has really been fairly quick. I mean, it's been in the last couple of years during the pandemic, right?
Yeah, it's funny. It took me a long time to sort of figure out what the hell I was once I left academia, and then I looked on Google one day and it says, if you Google me on the sidebar, it says journalist. So I'm like, that's good enough for Google. I guess I'm a journalist. The internet says I'm a journalist, and what am I going to do? Question the internet? No, it's right there. So I'm a journalist now because it was mostly a columnist, and I never wanted. You've got reporters out there who are putting their asses on the line, who are doing the deep, deep work, and who are really, really grinding. And I was like, they're different. I think of them, and those are journalists. I make phone calls, I do research, I put in my due diligence, I take the job seriously. But I feel embarrassed calling myself a journalist when I look at some of my colleagues, especially since I'm a columnist, and columnists are hit or miss. But I sort of ended up doing this after I left academia. And now I've, built these connections, built these spaces in which I get to work, and it's been fantastic. But it really took off in the last couple of years when I quit and started doing it full time, which is what happened during the pandemic. And I was quite lucky to make a go of that because it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the way you do it, and I say this all the time, is the way that Neil Gaiman talks about this. You know, people get and keep work as freelancers because they do good work, they do it on time, and people like them. And 2 out of 3 is usually good enough. That's kind of the thing that's been guiding my work in those couple of years, because it's a tough business to exist in if you're not good and nice to people and deliver stuff on time and lucky. You know, because part of it is just being in the right place at the right time.
It's interesting that you've separated columnist from journalist. I'm wondering, because when I write anything, I hear myself yelling back at me. I can't, so I could never take that next step to journalism. But you just hanging out with you for the last 10 minutes, David, I get a sense that you got a really strong personality. Has the personality from your columns moved into your writing now that you're doing a little bit more serious stuff, journalism?
I think one of the most important things for anyone who's doing this work is to be authentic and not to be affected, you know, not to do a bit. And I try really hard to be who I am when I'm on media, doing podcasts, doing radio, doing television, writing pieces, not to be affected, not to talk down to people, not to, you know, to pretend that I have some secret key to the secret world that other people don't have. And then I'm just, you know, going back and, you know, giving them a little bit of drink of information from time to time. Like, no, I'm a person who's trying to figure it out like everyone else. I've got a megaphone, and that comes with a lot of responsibility, but I'm just figuring it out too. I've got a background, I've got, you know, research skills, but I get things wrong. You know, so I'm just going to be me and do my best and see what happens. And that's pretty much all you can do. It's when you start thinking that you're infallible that you get into trouble, or that you don't have anything left to learn, or you start rewriting, you know, the same stuff over and over again. I think of years ago, Brian Eno was on Stephen Colbert, and he was talking about leaving Roxy Music. I'm a big Brian Eno fan, and he's one of my sort of heroes. I wrote my book listening to Eno, Music for Airports. And he's like, I knew it was time to leave Roxy Music because I was doing a live set and thinking about my laundry. I was like, I look at some columnists in this country and in the US. I'm like, that guy's thinking about doing his laundry while he's writing for sure. Right. And so I just try to keep bringing myself to the table and to keep learning and to keep challenging myself and to stay sharp and to stay a little bit saucy, you know, because I think, especially in this day and age, you know, because like it or not, as a journalist, you're also a product, especially in a sort of hustle culture of freelance work. You're a product. You're selling yourself. I don't love it. I don't love that, but that's the reality of it. Mm-hmm. And if you're someone who wants to be entertaining and have fun and have a personality, then you should own that. And that's what I try to do. And I found it to be quite successful because part of it is following the golden rule, I think, of journalism, ultimately, which is don't punch down. You know, it's okay to punch because you got to, but just don't punch down. Mm-hmm. You know, don't be a dick. And people who punch down are dicks.
Yeah, they talk about that from time to time. We talk about taking the high road. Getting into philosophy is someone that studies certain philosophies and someone that finds value in the virtues of a couple of different philosophies. And I spend a lot of time trying to, you know, especially when we're delivering news and information, I spend a lot of time talking about how to be a better individual, how to authentically deliver great material, how to be able to affect change. But sometimes it's unavoidable, David. Like sometimes, you know, this Pierre Poilievre stuff or the Doug Ford shit, I know that's not punching down, but, you know, there's this authenticity that you approach your stuff with when you're talking about, you know, what is wrong with our current liberal democracy here in Canada. If you go and download David's podcast, it's called Open to Debate. You deal a lot with that. You talk a lot about the connective tissue and the connectivity revolution that you talk about quite a bit and how dangerous it is. But what I'm finding is, and getting back to what you're saying, these people that think about other things while they're supposed to be delivering material, what I'm finding is there's 2 different kinds of people that are morphing into this space, this digital or traditional media space that are successful. And the successful people like yourself, which is why I love reading you, not because you're successful, but you have an ability to be able to identify a couple of issues, social, cultural issues, whether it be attached to a political event, whether it be attached to a political person. And you also have the ability not to tell people, if you believe in this, you're fucked in the head, which is, where I fall down because I can't help myself. But at the same time, it's refreshing and it's successful, right? Like, if I go back and I think about the kind of authentic writing you do and the authentic content that David Moscrop delivers on a daily basis about the greater good, about servicing people, about being socially responsible, for the collective. If I go back and I look at your stuff, it almost, to some sense, seems very socialist, but at the same time, we take these labels and we try to apply them to people when we're reading their things or we're trying to understand it. And if you take all the labels away and you read some of your pieces, like specifically when it comes to Pierre Poilievre and the views that he's parroting from Trudeau camp, and when you talk, when you kind of break down and define what's good for Canada and what isn't, you find an audience because you're not shitting on people while you're delivering that material. It's like you're almost offering people a roadmap to a better solution, or you're kind of disrobing, the bullshit which we're actually looking at in Pierre Poilievre's case.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I sometimes get frustrated and lose my patience a little bit and say things, and I always later regret it and think, no, that's not constructive. I mean, sometimes people are just asking for it, right? And it reminds me of an old hockey thing. I think it was Gordie Howe. I can't remember for sure. No, maybe it's Maurice Richard, actually, now that I think of it. It was like, the first shift of the game, he'd go out and just throw an elbow at someone just to let him know he could, like he wasn't going to be fucked with. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I do that. But again, I always try to punch up and not down, or elbow up and not down. But it's ultimately the question of, okay, well, what are you trying to do here? What is your goal as someone who has a platform? What is this about? You get up every day, you sit down, you write something, you log on to Twitter, you hop on the radio, you hop on TV, you're out there. What's the goal? And for me, the goal is, to push an agenda. I have an agenda, and that agenda is that every human being in this country and in every country gets to live a life of comfort and dignity. Because no one deserves to have to, no one ought to be suffering. Everyone deserves dignity. And then what comes from that? Let's work back from that. What does social justice look like? What does access to resources look like? What does a fair shake look like? And that's the lens I apply to everything, including the left, critiques of the left, the center, the left, the right. Doesn't matter. It's the same lens for everybody. Mm-hmm. And if you believe that, going around telling people they're stupid isn't particularly productive, right? It's like, you got to look at it's like, I believe you should live a life of dignity, you big stupid asshole.
That's where we go wrong, Dean, I think.
No, but I get it because it's frustrating, and I totally get it. But and there's sometimes you have to say to people, no, you're just a hate-filled pile of shit. There are some people who are irredeemable, and yeah. You can ignore them, you can attack them, but it's a different kind of thing. But for the most part, it's a question of saying, how do people get here, and how, on my side, on the left, on like the proper left, do we advance a counter message and a counter program that can speak to people on their terms? Going back to Pierre Poilievre, the reason he's so appealing is that he's breaking complex problems down into simple language and a rallying call that tells people, I know you're afraid, I know you're angry, I know you're scared, I've got the solution. It's all bullshit. But the form that it takes is really compelling. And I think the left should be doing the same thing, because at the end of the day, people are worried and scared and angry, and they ought to be worried and scared and angry. But you don't win them by saying, well, you're just a sort of like Trumpian mega idiot, right? I'm like, well, it's not going to work. That's not a compelling counter narrative.
But aren't they?
Some of them are.
Yeah.
Some of them are for sure. But, the question is, okay, well, why? What? Some of them are just going to be xenophobic racists, and there's nothing you can do. Right? We just got to call them xenophobic racists and say, okay, that's, this isn't economic anxiety. This is hate. Yeah. And we got to deal with that. Some people are deeply alienated from a system that they don't find themselves connected to. They don't find themselves represented in. And I get that as someone who doesn't get to pick a lot of political winners, as someone who doesn't see a lot of his policy priorities reflected in the mainstream. I get that. But then the question is, okay, well, then what do you do? Well, then you've got to pick your battles, and you've got to, pick your champions and push for that, and then try to build, a counter movement. But I still don't want to spend my time, taking swings at everyone who disagrees with me, because it's just not productive.
I think that's where we're at right now. Everyone's swinging. Everyone's taking swings behind the scenes, and no one is actually trying to build that counter culture that you're talking about. It's interesting. I'm in a very similar spot that you're in right now. I have been struggling with my my patriotic expectation of myself to vote in all the elections, with this overwhelming sense of, holy shit, there is nobody out there that represents what I'm looking for on any side. I am completely unrepresented. So what do I do? Moving forward, do I go in there and spoil my ballot, go into the gymnasium and yell that it's all a bunch of bullshit? Like, how am I going to be a part of the next election? And I think, David, we have got a crisis on our hands in this country in the next couple of years, in that regard, that there is this massive group of people that feel completely and totally unrepresented based on the extreme that the left
it's not
has
the
gone
extremes
and the extreme
too, right,
that's
Locke?
right has gone.
Like, that's it. We're not talking about the extremes that are alienated and left out. We're talking about, like, legitimately 80 to 90% of this country, right? That you feel like there is no culture in a political community that you identify with. There isn't for me. I mean, we talk about how, a case in point, Pierre Poilievre. Like, let me just play this clip. This guy is the hope, and I have friends that I thought were smart people that be able to see through this bullshit. But it's the flooding of the zone with all kinds of rhetoric that doesn't matter. And I'm going to play you this clip. This is Pierre Poilievre. He's in Toronto last night. He's running for the political leadership of the Conservative Party. In his bio on Twitter, he's got candidate for the Prime Minister of Canada. Just getting dragged like the fuck he is. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to play this clip. Locke, watch this. This guy might be the next leader. And I mean, he looks unassailable in the videos and pictures that he forces his party to actually share around, because he's drawing big crowds out west. Didn't draw well last night. Steam Whistle Brewery House, which is downtown Toronto. He was doing another one of these things. Well, two things. I want you to look for how wienerific this guy is as he's leading a chant called "Defund the CBC," and then I want you to spot the token minorities that they had to ship in from somewhere, because all of these rallies, and I'm not kidding you. I talked to someone with his campaign today. They're like, we had to put a couple of people in that broke up all the white. I'm like, well, there you go. But I want you to pay attention to this stuff. Like, this is, and David, I'd like your opinion on what the fuck this is.
That was the most exciting $1 billion we've ever saved. And we're going to bring in a very simple rule, that every time a minister brings in a new dollar of spending that's not...
Yeah, it doesn't matter what he said after that. It was the whole, like, glib defund the CBC. What is he? What was that, David? Like, how do you, when you think about that and you look at what he's been capable of doing over the past couple of weeks, month or two, since the convoy, since asserting himself, what is he trying to accomplish? Who is he going after, and why is it working, or seemingly working?
Well, he's doing Margaret Thatcher cosplay.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he is a libertarian small government guy. He's like, okay, the state is too big. We got to cut the bureaucracy. We got to cut the state. We've got to deregulate. In fact, what he said after is actually related to that. He said every time a minister wants to spend a new dollar, he or she's going to have to cut an existing dollar, as if government was like you saying, do I want Netflix or Disney Plus? I can only have one. And like, motherfucker, we have fiat currency. We don't have to worry about that. We have to worry about, the limits to the economy, the real limits to the economy. And we have to worry about inflation long term. But like, we don't have to cut a dollar every time we spend a dollar. Not that we don't, misspend some dollars. We do, but it's just one of these principles of libertarianism that just simply don't work. And that's what he's doing. He's doing a sort of culture war libertarianism that we're going to make Canada the freest country on earth. I don't know what that means. I don't think he does either, really. Which means that we're going to shrink the state, and then we're going to be more free. I for one, don't think you're freer when your teeth are falling out. That's just me. I don't think you're freer, when you can't afford to put your child in childcare. And therefore can't go to work. I think that makes you less free. I don't think you're freer when you can't see a doctor and you end up in the hospital with a condition that's far worse than it need be. I think that makes you less free. That's just me. I don't think you're freer when you can't afford, groceries. I think that makes you less free when you can't feed yourself. But he's selling this, and people are buying it because they're angry and frustrated, and they hear, oh, the government's gonna be out of my face, end the mandates. As opposed to mandates, rein in the Bank of Canada. This is like the classic libertarian playbook. And the reason we know that it doesn't work is because it's been tried before. We have decades of experience in the Reagan Thatcher years, and we know what happens when you pursue the libertarian agenda like this. It does not go well. And it's funny though. I will say this: I'll be curious to hear what he thinks about drugs. Because Nate Erskine-Smith, who's an MP I quite like, sort of tweeted this. He's like, "Well, Pierre, you say you're for freedom, but I seem to remember when you voted against legalizing marijuana." And now there's as you got up on the screen here, there's a private member's bill to decriminalize drugs. Well, if Pierre wants us to be free, that's a great opportunity to free people from the shackles of a system that's not working for them, that criminalizes them, that lands them in prison in the justice system, and wastes a lot of money. You don't want to waste money, Pierre? Go ahead, get people out of a system that costs a fortune and returns nothing but misery. Go ahead, buddy. But he won't, because he's doing a culture war bullshit shtick. That's just simply not going to work. And the reason he offends me and makes me so angry, because it genuinely makes me angry, is that he's preying on people. It's predatory, and he's not going to solve their problems, not like this. And it's going to leave them 4, 5, 10 years later, if he sticks around, and God help us if he wins and becomes prime minister, it's going to leave them worse off than they are now. And then where are those people going to be? Where are they going to turn? You think we've got a problem with hate right now and extremism now? Wait until you've taken an entire generation of people and made their lives worse after promising you're going to make it better. So I'm deeply concerned and deeply frustrated and angry about the whole thing. And it gets back to ultimately what you asked earlier, and that's what ends up animating the stuff that I do and write, because I've got a small part of the world that I call mine that I can use to push back against this stuff.
Sorry, Ryan, you go ahead.
How did you get that tweet up so fast? My God, you guys are good.
Dean retweeted it today. We all laughed at it. We thought it was kind of brilliant.
We're fucking on Twitter, dude. We're on Twitter.
I was saying this earlier. It was like, being extremely online is often frowned upon. But I was telling Dean this before. Like, it got me my Washington Post gig and my PlayStation 5. So is it really all that bad?
How terrible is it?
Like, for all you bozos whose load times are like 5 times longer than mine, I feel like
not bad. Yeah. Lynn, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
That's okay. We have the metrics, and this is what I don't understand. I'm wondering. I've heard the term post-truth reality that we're living in now since like the Trump days, and it's ushered in politicians like Pierre to. Like you say, take advantage of it and prey on people that just might not notice that we have the metrics to, like, those freedom indexes that can show you this is exactly how free we actually are compared to other democracies and non-democracies in the world. And we also have like the academics or the academia that's behind it supporting it, being told that they're shills, they're paid, they're like, you went through this at the beginning. I started following you right at the beginning of COVID, and I watched.
Was that when he was getting that big government paycheck that we were all getting to?
We were all getting $70,000-$80,000 a year, apparently.
Big pharma, yeah.
Not meant to talk about that, I thought.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, I forgot. We signed NDAs, didn't we?
Yeah, so I guess I blew it for all of us. I'm sorry.
Said, "Go fuck you,"
because you had rounds on me at Chili's now. But we had. I just don't understand why. Like, where are we now? Is it because of an overload of information that people get so? I don't know, confused. Maybe that the distrust comes from the. Is it a post-truth reality that we're living in? Where are we?
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff going there. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on there, and part of it is that the internet and social media allows these sorts of people to find themselves in networks, right? It's not necessarily that everybody is just becoming a post-truth person. It's that,
Chambers.
these folks can find their spaces, they can congregate there, and then they can seem much bigger and stronger than they actually are because they can then amplify one another. I mean, so part of it is that there's just that effect is going on. Another part of it is this, that we're just flooded with so much information. You know, Dean mentioned flooding the zone earlier. We just got so much information going, you know, across our desks every day. And there's a great book called The Paradox of Choice by Barry Schwartz. And he says, you know, at some point, more information is just worse than no information or too little information. And he uses the example of, you know, he's like a middle-aged guy going in to buy a pair of jeans at the Gap. You know, it's like, what the fuck do I do? I don't know what to do. And in fact, it's true because I feel this. So I own 2 pairs of jeans. I have the information. I just go in with the photo. I'm like, I would like this, please. But the point being that at some point you just get flooded with so much information that you can't process it, and you end up making worse decisions than if you'd had less information. And one of the core things to think about when we're thinking about misinformation, disinformation, the big lies, is that it's not necessarily, you know, designed to make you believe it, but it's designed to make you distrust and doubt everything. You know, and it's like, I just can't tell. You know, this side says that the party is a bunch of kitten eaters who sacrifice babies. This other side says, no, we just want to give you dental care. Who's to say who's telling the truth? You know, like, I can't trust anybody, and it's remarkably effective. And or you just check out entirely. You're like, this is bullshit. I don't want anything to do with any of it. And then and who fills that space? All the bullshitters and the professional spin doctors who want to, you know, colonize your brain. And so we've created pretty much, I write this in my book, if you were to design an environment custom built to make bad political decisions, it would look pretty much exactly like the one we've got.
What we're in now, yeah. No, I got to agree.
I got to step in here. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
At what point did politicians ever tell the fucking truth?
Oh, no, never.
Okay.
Never.
Well, then, I understand.
Sophisticated.
I understand that we can have a conversation about where we're at now, but let's have a conversation. And this is, I did this morning on my show. Let's have a conversation about why we still can't find anybody in any political party that has the fucking balls to step up and say what is actually happening. Like, it's just all
in
bullshit.
what context?
And it
like
has
you
been
use
bullshit from day one. I'm 52. I can't remember a time where I ever thought that somebody that represented any political party stepped up to a fucking stump and said anything with any significant truth at all. There always was some kind of a spin behind it. And I understand we're all frustrated now by the bombardment of over information, but I'm frustrated that we still are bogged down with every time Kenny speaks. I'm like, who the fuck does he think he's talking to? Who is listening to this asshole and thinking, this is my guy? Thank God we got a guy up there telling the truth, telling it the way it is. He is just completely full of shit.
It's the ones that pay the money.
To me.
They're the ones that donate. He's going after that fringe side, that the only ones we talked about this yesterday. Who donates money? The extreme left and the extreme right. Nobody else. So if you want to raise capital for your party, you have to hit those notes, or else you're not getting money. And you're not. You got to attack
the crazies, man. You got to somehow. I mean, dude, and getting back to that. I mean, this is Pierre Poilievre yesterday. Again, part of the routine. I mean, these are the dog whistles to that group. Back to what we were saying. The dog whistles to that group are, telling them what their reality is. It's not telling them, hey, listen, I'm here to listen to you. I'm here to hear your concerns. It's telling them you are oppressed. You are not free. There's one person that has the ability to do it, and it's me. And this was Pierre yesterday.
I'm running because you should have the freedom if you work hard to own a home. You should have the freedom to be able to afford food if you work hard and bring home your paycheck. You should have the freedom to be able to fill up the tank in your car. You should have the freedom to decide what you think and what you believe without government interference or censorship. You should have the freedom if you're a newcomer to Canada to...
Whatever. Lots of echo. You get it. I mean, he's going off about freedom. We've been over the freedom indexes of different countries. We know Canada is one of the freest countries in the world. And my God, I mean, if that's not just directed at a group of people who thought the pandemic was happening to them and who thought that Trudeau is trying to secularize Canada, that entire group, that whole, if you were to draw a picture of who he's talking to, it's the shirtless lunatics that think that Jesus is the reason for the season that took over Ottawa. That's all I hear in there, David. Am I wrong? I mean, that whole "you weren't free, I'm here to make you free," him attaching himself to the convoy, turning it into this thing where he's like, hey, I'm the only one that's really listening. Well, guess what? No one wanted to really listen to a fucking bunch of religious extremists, and especially ones that were there to hang the prime minister and take out the Senate and all the other bullshit that comes with it. And when you look behind the rhetoric, you see the people and you get to the culture war stuff, right? I mean, that's the disappointing thing for guys like me. And I know you too, because you know how dangerous this shit is, right?
Yeah, you know what? Well, first of all, Lachlan, you don't look a day over 42. So whatever you're doing,
Oh, wow.
keep it up.
These guys tell me I look 60 all the time.
65. Yeah.
You just
have freedom to be
celebrated the
as old or
64th
as young as
birthday.
you want. Don't let the government tell you how old you have to be.
Yeah.
It's just a number on your driver's license.
Yeah. I tell you, I've been
okay.
aging quickly in the last couple of years.
Yeah, you and me both. I remember when the U.S. declared its war on terror, quote unquote, and Lewis Lapham, who was the editor of Harper at the time, said the U.S. has declared war on an abstract noun, and this is what Pierre Poilievre is doing. He's talking he's talking about an abstract noun, freedom. And it's, because when you say freedom, it's what we call in academia an essentially contested concept. It's a bit amorphous. It's like tofu. It's going to taste like whatever you cook it beside. And so he says freedom, and people hear what they want to hear. They're like, freedom, it's good. He's for freedom. I like that. I'm all for it. And then if you were to push and say, well, okay, what is that? What do you think that means? You're like, what's freedom?
Asking them.
They're like, oh, wow. You're going to get 80 different answers in a room of 80 people. But it resonates because there's something powerful about that. And to sort of use that to get to something that Lachlan was saying earlier, the reason this stuff works in part is that our political allegiances for diehard partisans aren't just party allegiances. They're identities.
Yeah.
It's not just something I support. It's something I am. It becomes me. It's part of me, like my gender might be, or my religion might be, or so on and so forth. It's like a fundamental part of me. And then it becomes something you defend to the end, and that your brain will actually work overtime to defend. And all the inconsistencies, the brain tries to reconcile because you don't want inconsistencies. So then you find ways to explain it, and you come up with batshit stuff and defenses of politicians because you just want to make it all make sense and feel good about yourself and the world. And politicians know this, and their people know it, the same way advertisers know it, and they use it against us to try to manipulate us and to get us to support them and their program. And this is what Poilievre is doing. It's super common. To Lachlan's earlier point, it's not new, but we're getting really, really, really good at it. And it makes it really hard to make political decisions, and it makes it really hard for people to own their own political space and have any power. And it's deeply frustrating to watch, but it's wildly effective. And in fact, it's so bad that not only is it an identity, it's a lens. There's plenty of academic research that shows that people will actually use these partisanship as a lens that will warp their view of the world, like wearing rose-colored glasses, like shit-colored glasses, And you get the political discourse you get. And the reason they do it, by the way, though, is that they say, well, the other guys are going to do it if we don't. Or, people don't understand. We've got to lie to them. This goes all the way back to Plato and the idea of the noble lie. Like, well, we have to bullshit because if we told the truth, nothing would work. And every time I hear that, I want to think like, maybe the system is broken then. Like maybe there's something fundamentally wrong if you believe that it's your job to bullshit because people can't handle the truth. Like you're some low rent Jack Nicholson,
Well, that's interesting. That's very fucking interesting because I always ask these guys whenever we have political conversations, like, what's the fucking point here? What's the motivation? Why are they doing this? If we are so convinced that the number in the middle, this unrepresented fucking populace here in Canada is 70, 80% of people that see through the bullshit, then why is it so difficult to assume that at one point before I finally fucking get buried into the ground with all my empties, that somebody is going to be able to fucking be honest with me that wants a job in politics. Like, is that just too much to ask?
Yes.
Like, we have
We're too far
constant
in.
conversations. We poke holes constantly, daily, in all the bullshit that is fed to us from the fucking politicians.
But aren't these,
Constant.
to your point though, Locke and David
I'm a
and
dumb man.
Ryan's got some history. I know you're not. No, you're not. You're a smart cat. But there's two things at play here. One of them that I think about from time to time, and you mentioned it in your podcast with the fellow you had on from El Salvador, connectivity revolution. Good for information, probably bad for us. I mean, it can be weaponized the way that these people have gotten together and figured out where each other are and their strength in numbers, and we see all that. But there's a concerted effort to mobilize that group, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that concerted effort to mobilize that group is being done through dog whistlers and people like Pepe Le Poliev. I mean, it is, and they know it works because we've had a couple of years of literally to sit back and watch everybody separate. The division in this country has been phenomenal. I mean, we see it all the time. The hate speech that you get. I mean, you're one of the great shit posters of all time, David. The people that, oh, dude, you're one of the kings. Guys telling you to go fuck yourself or I hope you die. Oh, dude, he's one of the best follows online. And he's like me. He's got no problem just going, this tweet's just going to say, go fuck yourself. It's beautiful. We're going to send you a shirt, by the way. We got a lot of them. Maybe a hoodie and a mask. We don't know. We're just going to load you up with gear. But yeah, we will.
And you can Lachlan's empties.
Yeah. Oh, dude, he'll send you those.
I'll take them back.
Yeah.
So, but my point is this: is that there's a mobilized portion, an activated portion of the political theater in this country, and to Lachlan's point, then there's the rest of us, right? And I find that to be disconcerting is the lack of action when it comes to fighting disinformation. And I go back to the stuff that you put out. You put out a roadmap. You say, hey, this is the problem that we're having. Here's where we should be as a society. Let's talk about this, right? But it's none of that. It's just the weaponization of you're wrong. These are my people. I'm going to serve them. And then you got the other side saying, no, you're wrong. These are my people. I'm going to serve them. And one side is clearly right and one side is clearly wrong, David. But here's the thing. Wrong is now an alternative reality. Wrong is now another opinion. Wrong is now one of the political power centers in this country that has the ability to literally ascend to the highest office in this land with people who believe that you shouldn't have to be socially and civically accountable to people during a pandemic. That's a problem for me.
It is a problem. And, there's this principle that you sometimes see in brain science stuff that structure dictates function. Like the way that we structure things, including our institutions, are going to dictate how those things work. They're going to dictate incentives. They're going to dictate paths path dependencies that we sort of trot over and over again. Mm-hmm. And we live in a world in which not only is that true and politicians bullshit, and to something Lachlan said earlier, when you get these folks privately, they'll tell you the truth. Right? It's the public thing. I once had a former leader of a party say to me, liberals, conservatives, none of us can do procurement. And then turn around, when they were leaders, say, we're going to fix Canada's procurement, right? Like they'll tell you the truth privately, but publicly it's you get the bullshit because we've structured the system to do that. And in a world in which we have a first past the post,
that's not helping me.
It's not. No, I'm here to tell you this is my job in media to say I know you think it's bad, but I promise you, don't worry, it's worse. But we have a first past the post system in this country that awards you government with 39% of a 65% turnout. So like who's voting for you? You might be forming government with the support of about 20% of eligible voters. Parties know this. They know who to talk to. They don't need to get half of the country. They need to find this is why parties say get out and vote. Like bullshit. You don't want people to vote. You want your 38% of people to vote. You want everyone else to fuck off. Yep. And they target their message and they target their get out the vote and they target the whole orchestrated choreographed thing to sort of mobilize a small plurality of voters. And so you get government that's designed that way, right? And you get campaigns that are designed that way. And they know they can break promises because what are you going to do? Vote for the other guys 4 years from now when you've forgotten it? They're going to spin it anyway. We're going to throw a couple $1 million out there. That seems like a lot of money, right? And everyone else who's just trying to get through the day, who's not a professional politician, a professional journalist, or professional observer of politics. They're just trying to get through the day. They don't have time to sift through all that stuff. And then when it's all said and done, we go and we face the sort of post-truthers. They're out there telling us that it's some great conspiracy theory, and they're flooding the zone with nonsense. And our brains are just like, no, I'm going to stream the latest, fad bullshit thing to stream that everyone's watching, because I just can't be bothered with any of this. And I don't blame them. I was like, it's a lot of work and it's miserable. What do we expect from people? Right? And
Ozark out on Friday.
What is that?
Ozark.
Ozark
On Friday.
Everyone's watching now. What's there's like a thing everyone's watching. I always miss them. There's a big thing. What's it called?
What, on Netflix? The show
Yeah.
on Netflix? I don't know. I'm not too sure.
Criminal, but that's not right, is it?
That South Korean one was good.
Atypical, is that the one?
Euphoria?
That everybody's watching? Euphoria, can't watch it.
So people somewhere just like screaming it into the TV like a Jeopardy answer. Just like,
It'll happen. Ittle happen in the comments. Don't worry.
Oh yeah. Someone will hit it. Yeah.
I saw someone there earlier talking about tater tots, and I haven't been able to focus since. By the way,
You big tater tot
That was
guy?
my wife, actually.
And I'm just like, I can't. All I'm thinking about is tater tots now.
Are you a big tater tot guy? Is that the deal? You like the tater tots?
I'm like a human being who likes salt. So I just like, it doesn't matter.
Savory over sweet.
I'm not really meant to have as much as I used to because I recently turned old. But tater tots are really, really good. I see someone apologizing. Was that for the tater tots? Should be.
Yeah, but I'm distracting you. Yeah. Oh, Peaky Blinders. You talk about Peaky Blinders season 6? You watching that one?
Oh, the Peaky Blinders.
No, it's not that one. Anyway, it'll come.
I'm going to find it. I'm going to come back on and just talk about it the whole time. But But here's the thing. This is the world in which we end up with. And actually, here we go. I'm gonna connect the two. It's like tater tots.
We just did it.
It's real easy and cheap to feed people salt, fat, and sugar, and it always works. But it's not good for you.
No,
David.
I
really like that guy.
And you know what they said? They said right after, like when the pandemic hit, or actually, it wasn't the pandemic. It was the Wall Street crash. The two things that actually boosted in sales were candy and fast food. And it wasn't because people were broke and that's all they can afford. It was literal comfort food.
Mm-hmm.
And it was comfort food increases in the market when certain things happen. They're looking at it right now for the pandemic as well. Obviously there's other mitigating factors because of like stores being closed or, people don't want to go out. They order out a lot, but, back to, what you said, let me pull it back just for Locke. I hope you caught that because he was talking about you, and I don't know if you caught it or not, but think about it the way you're sitting now, Lachlan, when it comes to politics. If voting day comes and something minorly more intriguing than voting was to come up in your schedule, would you do that or go vote?
No, I will vote because
You mean like a bowel movement?
No. I mean, I'm not saying because you don't put importance in the vote. I mean, because you're so on the fence. You're like, what the fuck what do I do? You're more susceptible to what David was talking about. You're more
not
susceptible.
fence anymore. I'm fucking angry. Like I'm mad. I'm getting
Dude,
mad.
and here's the fucking crazy part. And back to what David's talking about. Polyev knows.
Yeah.
He knows.
He counts on you.
Yes, dude. He's like, is that not the case, David? Like, are we not talking about that kind of outrage being a shared event for 100% of us? I mean, we're all sick and tired of the theater, and to be able to tap into that outrage, that populist fucking gimme that a lot of politicians are going after now, it works on the conservative side of that equation in a big bad way, does it not?
Well, it hugely works. I mean, it definitely works. I mean, and Justin Trudeau ran on something broadly similar to it as well. In fact, I remember writing years and years ago a column for the National Post, arguing that Justin Trudeau was Canada's Ronald Reagan, and I got a bunch of mail from people who didn't get the point. It was like, no, Ronald Reagan was a conservative and Justin Trudeau was a liberal. I'm like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these guys are often blank canvases onto which you project all of your hopes and dreams and angers and frustration, right? Their job is to be a blank canvas. And they'll talk in the code because that's what they do. They'll make promises. That's what they do. They still have some ideological commitments, obviously, but the campaign style is, okay, what do you want right now? What do you need right now? I'm going to be that for you. And I'm going to talk in vague, abstract nouns. Ronald Reagan did it, Justin Trudeau did it, Pierre Poilievre's doing it too. And people, that really mobilizes people, but these campaigns count on you not reading the fine print, right? Like that's the bet. The bet is that they're not going to look too much, beyond the canvas projection, because if you go down to the fine print, that's when you realize like your interest rate is 25% on that card, right? And so, we are a nation of people who do not read the fine print, and so that works really well for them.
We're the nation of people who, I say this all the time, and I think it's super true. We ordered the fish, they brought the chicken, and we fucking ate it anyway. We're like, I'm not going to complain, whatever.
Yeah.
Until it gets so bad like it is now. Sorry, Locke, go ahead.
No, it's fine. David, you mentioned something, and I can't exactly remember how you worded it or how you manipulated into the explanation. But you were talking about your solution personally to combating your frustrations with where we're at right now. Does that ring a bell? Because
I think he said drugs. I believe doing drugs.
I drink a lot of coffee, and I actually, what's funny is I talk about this in my book a little bit too. Is part of being able to get through all of this is finding sources of information you trust, but having a bit of a variety of sources so that you're not just on autopilot. And part of it is accepting that we're going to be emotional about this stuff. And that's not bad. It's not bad to be emotional about politics. It's not bad to be emotional about anything. Emotions tell us something about how we're feeling, and that's important.
Can you talk to my wife?
That's important. Sure. I'm a doctor.
So there you go. See?
Now
he's a doctor.
Now he's a doctor. Yeah.
No, but we all get emotional, right? We're all we're fundamentally emotional people, all of us, right? This is something that belongs. This is a trait of humankind. Sometimes we're socialized to repress. I mean, especially men are socialized to repress their emotions. It's extraordinarily catastrophically bad for us. And we should be pushing back against it. But we're emotional beings. What we need to learn to do collectively as a species is take those emotions, slow down for a minute, listen to them, and say, okay, what are they telling me? Like when someone disagrees with you, your immediate response is to say, yes, I should sit down and weigh the pros and cons and do a logical examination of it. It's like, it's like this is how you feel. Whenever you're feeling like this, and we do it all the time, your body is telling you something that your brain now needs to slow down and process. But in the world in which we live, it's really hard to do that. And politicians don't want us to do that, because that's when you start reading the fine print. So part of sorting through all this stuff is taking time, taking a beat, taking a breath, having information you trust, and processing this stuff in a healthy way. And that includes downtime. And there's a great essay in Harper's from years ago called Quitting the Paint Factory. It was about some guy who just like checked out of work. He's like, I can't do this bullshit anymore. And he sort of says, look, in a world in which everything's always whirling and swirling and there's constant information, it's like a totalitarian style, because your life is completely invaded. You've got no time to slow down. You've got no time to reflect. You've got no time to enjoy your life. And that makes you so much worse than you would otherwise be without it. So finding time to slow down and relax is extraordinarily important, if difficult. And so that's something I do all the time. I read a lot of whatever I feel like reading, no judgment. I walk a lot. I play a lot of video games with my buddies. And it's when I'm doing my relaxing and processing. And it makes me a better political commentator and columnist and human being. But it's not, and not everyone can do that. And that's part of the reason someone like me comes along and says, no, we got to make sure people have their basic needs met. We got to make sure we're not working people to death, and that, we don't sacrifice these people to the marketplace as kind of like cogs in the productive machine. Like, we've got to give people time to live their lives and to decompress, or else we're all going to be miserable and useless. And what happens when you're like that? There's no political change. You've got no space, no time, no energy for that, and it's bad for everyone. And so that's the sort of the approach that I take, and it's been working quite well for me. But not everyone gets to do it.
Yeah. Dude, it's awesome to hear you even talk about how you manage. I mean, if it weren't for, and just hearing you kind of discuss it, I put out a tweet last week from Kierkegaard talking about how much he loved to walk. I don't know if you know a lot about Kierkegaard. I'm sure you do.
I do. I was a Catholic.
Oh, were you? Congratulations.
Thank you. No more. I'm
Welcome to the X Club.
Like in Hotel California, though, right? You can check out, but you can never leave.
But you know, we're emotional people, as you point out, and we're triggered by things. We've got these cognitive biases. There's certain things we see and we hear that tell us you're mad, your nervous system needs to go into overdrive. And what I find it is incredible is that, you know, some really healthy people like yourself and a couple of other people, we talk about it all the time. We got busy. I know you're not overly, I know you're not like a wellness guy, but like, I mean, you balance your life out, right?
Yeah.
And I find that people who are super jacked up all the time, people who are on both sides of the extreme equation, are people who legitimately laser focus on every negative portion that they don't like, as opposed to saying, okay, listen, let's step back from this and have a little perspective. These guys have always been lying sacks of shit. These people have always manipulated us for our votes so that they can get whatever influence into their power center so that those businesses can satisfy their executive political relationships. I mean, that has never been different. But the connectivity issue that we have now, it shows everything in real time. Like, we can see the way people are operating. And if you don't take care of your mind, if you don't take care of your brain, if you don't take yourself out of the rat race, specifically if you're one of the people on this planet that's charged themselves with being accountable and trying to offer some kind of journalistic transparency in this whole region, I mean, you're going to fucking just grind yourself into a point. Like, and I remember I did this during the convoy. It was like 2 weeks into it. It's not letting up. We're reporting on all the lies and all the bullshit, and it is coming back to us. And I'm like, I fucking have to go for a 4-hour walk. I cannot sit here. I need to go and fucking do some like replacement therapy. I got to go somewhere else. I have to do something else. And we've become so inundated with the connectivity that we experience on a daily basis. It's like we fucking can't get away from it, Dave.
We're addicted to it.
And we're rewarded for it, right?
Well, you know, I mean, it's no accident that social media sites are basically built like slot machines.
Yeah.
They're slot machines. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, they're like we're gambling. They're designed to be gambling machines, but you always lose, right? The house always wins. And, you know, our politics reflects that and backs it. And it's, again, like it goes back to what I said earlier. If we were to custom design a system for us to be miserable, make bad decisions, it would look like this, and we call it freedom. It reminds me of a great quotation. You know, they make a desert and call it peace, right? We've said that this is it. We are living the dream. Like, really? Because everybody's fucking miserable.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't seem like a dream to me. And there are moments where, you know, it's funny, is like the moments where I'm actually happiest, you'd think it was, you know, I've had some big hits from things I've written. I ended up with the Washington Post, and I'm a books guy at the Globe, and I've got a podcast, and I get to do great stuff like this. You know, the moment I'm actually the happiest, I'm like when on the weekends, me and my girlfriend go to like Home Depot, because she's got a project she wants to do around the house. She's really handy and does all this stuff.
Oh, now he's lying.
No, it's true. She's like
spoken like a true academic.
She's really, really good. And I just sort of like,
might be related.
Like, I'll go and take out the trash because I can't do this. But so she knows this shit, and she's really, really good at it. So we go to Home Depot, or we go to whatever, and we got to buy stuff. And I'm like, I grab a coffee. We walk around. I'm like, I'm happy right now. This is a nice moment right now. It's like this little silly thing. Yeah. Or Costco. I also love the Costco runs.
I love Costco.
Me too. I went there last week for milk, and I came back with 4 new sets of tires and a ratchet set.
And
no
it
milk.
cost you $60. I mean,
yeah.
You know, I'm very proud to say, by the way, we passed both the IKEA test and the Costco test. So that's
you guys are still together.
Built to win. But you know, it's not about Costco. It's not about Home Depot. It's not about whatever. It's about, you know, just being with someone and connected to someone, and whether that's your partner or your community, your family, whoever. I mean, part of what we are meant to be doing as humans is to connect with one another in our communities. And that's what makes life good. And that's what makes life happy, whether that's playing video games with your buddies online, which I do, or, you know, walking with your partner through a store or whatever and being present. Like, that's a nice life. All the rest of it is a battle over how we can best live that. But we get so caught up in the rest of this stuff and so detached from community building that we end up miserable. And this is something that conservatives and all the way to socialists agree on. Community is fundamental. Community is so important. And we've lost that, right? And all the nonsense. And I always get back to the fact that the one thing that unites us across the political divide is that we do fundamentally believe in that need for community. And that's where our eyes should be on the ball. You know, it's like community building and a chance to be present with the people we like and love.
Yeah, that's the stuff, man. I mean, you're touching on philosophy now. Like you're touching on the really important shit, which is, and these guys get sick of it because of stoicism. I practice it, and I talk
Something about filling a cup half full of shit or something. And
no, that's not it at all. It's no Marcus Aurelius, not in the meditation, Seneca's letters, moral letters, none of that stuff.
I'm like, I'm not going to poo in a glass.
I'm pretty sure Marcus talked a little bit about shit.
Yeah, he did. He did actually. He did when he talked about Diogenes. But anyway, I don't want to get all philosophical. What I want to do is I want to thank you for your time. And I want to ask you to come back if you're ever inclined to do so. And I want to encourage everybody to go get David's book. He's a white light in a really shitty dark sky of very confused people when it comes to explaining the politics and the behavior of what's going on and the culture. Go get his book. It's called Too Dumb for Democracy. David Moscrop. Mark Borey, who's a friend of ours, he's on the show this week, as a matter of fact. Yeah, he's going to join us. He did the forward to it. Why we make bad political decisions and how we can make better ones. And of course, your podcast, Open to Debate with David Moscrop. It's excellent. And dude, you're one of those, not just a bright light in the sky, but you're like this journalistic ninja. Everybody should pattern their journalistic life after too, because you're making it work. I mean, it's incredible. Yeah.
That's so nice. Thank you for having me. This has been genuinely so much fun. And I've been trying so hard not to eat these sour keys sitting beside me the whole time. But everyone keeps talking about tater tots. So I'm going to go make some.
Attaboy.
The next time, let's talk candy, music, video game.
I've
Done.
got sour Coke bottles here.
Done.
somewhere.
We waxed about wine gums prior to the show, and we realized that we've got a bunch of wine gum people here. We really do.
Yeah.
We got candy people,
gums.
wine gum people, dude, and not many people like embrace the wine gum. It's one of those.
You know what I like to do with the wine gum?
delicacies that kills people. What?
Put them in
I
Coke.
like to leave them out for a bit, like
Ooh.
overnight.
Let
and then you have-
Pardon.
You
Yeah.
put wine gums in Coke?
Yeah. I still and Skittles to this day. I'm a 38-year-old guy that's being like, I'm gonna put my candy in some pot. I'm like, what is wrong with you? What is
I've never
weird?
done that.
Nothing. Absolutely.
All right,
nothing,
we're gonna
David.
talk candy next time you come back.
Yeah,
What's
I
our
also
favorite
use
candy? We'll rank them.
Straws. So if anyone's looking for some doctor-approved advice, Twitter
Yeah.
as straws.
Okay, we got it. Moscrop. Follow him on Twitter as well.
There you
At David_Moscrop. Follow him. Read his stuff. He's a brilliant man. Thanks, David. Really appreciate you doing this, brother.
Thank you, Dave.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks
Thanks,
all.
Dave.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care. There's a confident individual right there, David Moscrop. How fucking good is he? How great was he to have on?
That was
I've always
That was
liked. I've always liked
amazing.
him. He was a very good pillar within the storm of the last 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody that just always kind of kept it, just real. You know.
Was he
Yeah.
keeping it real?
Yeah. You know.
I
Keep
don't
it
trust
real.
people that have that much education though. Like
See?
it's
we
on
go.
my list.
Dude, that's
It's
who you
on-
have to trust. You have to trust those
No.
people. Speaking of people you trust, I find it hard to believe that a lot of people in Alberta would put their hope and faith in the Toronto Maple Leafs. You know, like the Maple Leafs are vilified in Alberta. Everyone hates them in Alberta.
Dude,
with
you would be
exception.
shocked.
And
You'd
how
be
many people love
shocked
them?
when
Those legacy teams.
When we have the Habs in town,
yeah.
it drives me crazy. When we have the Habs in town, when we have the Leafs in town, there are games where it's 45% of the building is wearing Leaf jerseys.
Wow.
One of
wearing
those guys,
Habs jerseys. I see it all the time, man.
dude, one of those guys joins us. Please welcome Leaf superfan, Kurtis from Alberta, ladies and gentlemen.
Where are you, Kurtis?
I'm in the man cave. Before we get started, I just want to ask, am I allowed to drink my beer? I'm not sure what the whole
Yeah,
Fucking right. You can
Yeah,
swear
you're
it too,
right.
dude.
Cheers.
Yeah.
fellas. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Hey, yes, sir. Go Leafs.
Locke wants to know where you are. Medicine Hat, is that what I understand?
Medicine Hat, Alberta, Redcliffe, a small town outside of Medicine Hat.
Holy shit, that's where I'm from. My whole family's from Redcliffe. I was born in Medicine Hat.
Nice.
Yeah, and my family lived in Redcliffe. I bet you I could stand on the roof of my grandmother's house and throw a rock to your place. It's a small,
There's a
small
chance.
community.
There's a chance you guys might share the same biological father.
Redcliffe,
Yeah.
very small.
Yeah. Although if we did have the same lineage, I'd be fucking wearing a beard like that. Then that doesn't happen over here. Yeah.
Okay, so Kurtis caught my attention a few months ago. And the reason why he caught my attention isn't just because he's a big Leaf fan. It's because he's like insane about the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, Kurtis, you came to the forefront because you literally built you're in Medicine Hat, Alberta, and it's very odd for someone in Medicine Hat to be a fucking massive Leafs fan. But like your basement of your house, which is where you are, it's your man cave. If you follow him on Twitter at Leafs Guy 403, is that correct? Leaf Guy 403.
Yeah.
Leaf Guy 403. He puts out these incredible videos. Let me play one for you. This is Kurtis from Alberta, ladies and gentlemen. This is him celebrating a big goal and a big win, and I believe it's from Mark Giordano. And dude, this is one of his pinned tweets. This is every game. This is on his feed. This is like it's hard to believe, which is why I want to get into your sanity. But watch this.
Yo! Yeah! Yes, sir! Go Leafs! Another beer! Yes, sir! Sorry about the awkward selfie. That ties a season record for the Buds. Go, Leafs, go! Yes, sir! Woo!
What's your Twitter handle, Curtis? I am
Leaf
following
Guy
you.
403.
Leaf Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
We
how
are-
did this?
By the way, we
before-
do have the same father.
Probably do. You'll find out when you get the DNA test. How did this whole thing start, Kurtis? Take us through your Leaf fandom. How did the man cave come about, and then we'll go on a tour.
Shit, that's funny.
Well, it all started with Frank when she was pregnant, so I became a Leafs fan in Alberta. Yeah, so growing up, I didn't have cable, so the only channel I had was CBC. And then Leafs every Saturday night, I could watch the Leafs game before bedtime. So it was the only hockey I got to watch, and then it just became a growing passion from there. And then about 15 years ago, I started collecting. And once you start collecting, you fill one wall, and then the other walls look stupid. So you're like, well, I'll fill that second wall, and then suddenly it becomes what it is now, which is ridiculous. But it's they're a good team to cheer for. We're having a hell of a season. Goalie, yes, sir.
There you go, Kurtis.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're a big fan. You had Agrivision like I did when I was a kid. You get 3 channels. You're obviously just fed the Leafs every Saturday night, which is still an international complaint in the hockey community, by the way. How always on the fucking Saturday primetime game. It's always the fucking Leafs. You're goddamn right it is, because they're Canada's team. So relax, Lachlan.
Thought I heard
Relax,
Lachlan there. For a
BC. Relax, everybody. So you I get it. I get that part of it. Dad was a big Leaf fan, apparently, right? Is that what I understand?
Yeah.
You know, it's a familial thing, but getting to the man cave, and if you can grab your phone and take us on a little bit of a tour, when did you start collecting? What were your first pieces? And show us around, and then I want a financial amount too, right? Like I want to know what kind of money you
It's priceless
splashed.
to me. If my wife sees this, I'm not saying anything fine. It's priceless to me. Let's
Oh,
just
you don't
say
tell her how much you're spending on shit?
it's a lot of it's gifts. Hey, I got these game worn Austin Matthews gloves. They were $63 on eBay. She doesn't need to know.
Wait a second. So what you're about to show us, she has no idea how you got it. She's just like, oh, that looks nice. Is that correct?
There's so much that she doesn't. She noticed for a while I'd sneak it in when she was in the shower or sleeping. But now it's to the point where she doesn't notice because there's so much stuff in here. But for a while, it was sketchy. As soon as she went in the shower, I'd run out to the vehicle, get all the stuff I had shipped to my work so it didn't get shipped to the house.
Curtis, I fucking love you.
Okay,
He's
so
my
first off, I
spirit
want
animal.
to tell you how amateur I am. I have the phone resting on a 15-pack of Canadian and a beer
Yeah, perfect.
because that's how I roll.
All
That's
right.
how it works.
Okay, so yeah, we got
Oh,
just rows. Everything is signed.
I like the
or-
Clark.
yeah, same here.
Everything is signed. So, okay, keep going. Take us through the wall. Go slow, dude. We got lots of time. What do you got there?
Okay, I wish I could flip this. Is there a way to flip this camera around?
Not on Restream if you're on.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can tell I'm an amateur at this. Sorry, fellas.
That's
So
okay.
yeah, just
That's
signed,
Doing a great job.
just signed Marner Matthews. I can't really see what I'm doing here. Just
You got
Wendell
Willie, Wendell, Matt. Oh, yeah.
Marner with
Look at
sorry,
this.
shaking a bit here. I need more beer in me. With a piece of the goal net there that he scored his first NHL goal on. And then, of course, you got Matthews and, Sundin. Can't forget
Little
about the guys that have
Sundin.
fucking run. And then Mitchie Marner. I'm a big fan once again.
Yeah.
And then you get to all the equipment.
Holy
Like-
shit.
Got the Cujo mask.
Is that
Wow.
game worn? Is that Cujo's real mask?
It is his real mask, not game worn. It is signed, but it's just an exact replica.
All right.
Okay.
Jesus.
All the equipment's game worn. So Engvall, and then the arenas, Sandin, Nylander,
Nylander. Okay, that's what that number was.
and then sorry, I'm crooked here.
That's all right.
That's okay, Curtis.
Oh, you got a Potvin mat, dude.
Yeah.
You got-
Yeah, I
you got-
mask.
The old Potvin.
Oh shit.
Yeah, dude.
Of course, JT, bucket and gloves, and then Muzzin. I guess I could stand back more.
Oh, that's Muzzin. Okay. Curtis, what do you do for a living?
I'm a finance manager. I deal with money.
Just
Yeah,
not
I'm not
your
a
own.
good one. I'm not a good one. I never claimed to be a good one. I spend all my money on Chiefs gear. But you know what? I'm a finance manager.
Attaboy. Okay, so those are the autograph pictures and a couple memorabilia.
Holy
Uh,
shit. Are those all fucking jerseys?
Dude,
what is
take
that?
us to the jerseys. This looks like
Oh
a
my
fucking
God.
It's a
this
locker
looks like,
room.
dude, this looks like Pro Sports Daily. This is
Yeah.
incredible. So what do you got there? Take us through the jerseys.
Oh, frick, there's too many. There's 120 of them. Every one of them is game worn or signed.
Gilmore. Fucking nice. I
Oh,
it.
yeah,
I
I
like-
got the Dougie, front and center. Huge
Oh,
fan.
man.
And I got
And
Clarky
Clark.
down
Yeah,
there.
that was when I was a
Randall.
fan.
There you
And,
go.
just more buckets and gloves. Some Matthews, Nylander, Marner.
Yeah.
Not a helmet. It's a bucket. I fucking love you.
Mhm.
And then you got the mannequin. The man cave's not complete without Manny the mannequin. All in game worn Willie Nylander gear. It's not weird at all. He talks to me when I get too drunk sometimes, but that's all.
Curtis, has anybody from the Leafs ever reached out about your pad here?
Yeah, Austin Matthews commented "wow" one time, which was super cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah, and then it just
What do you
goes-
think
Do a
about
special on
what do you think about his mustache? What do you think about Matthew's mustache, Curtis?
Oh, stop it.
I would lick it if I got close enough to him. I'd get thrown out of the arena. Right? I'm a huge fan of Matthews and his
Yeah,
mustache.
I was just gonna say he probably has one or two of them hanging up somewhere.
And then the coolest thing in the whole cave,
Yeah.
the dispensing beer fridge.
Mm,
Holy shit.
look at that.
Show us.
Here it comes.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. Oh my god, it's a Maple Leafs vending machine for beer.
Oh my. Okay, how did your wife doesn't know about that?
That wasn't snuck in. That was actually one of the only things that was legit given to me as a gift.
All right.
Okay.
Given to me as a gift, yeah.
One of the only
Incredible.
things. How many items do you have down there? Just get ballpark the items.
Probably 380, 390.
So let's round it up to 400. Of the 400 items of Leaf memorabilia, vending machines, sticks, autographed shit, jerseys, buckets,
favorite?
gloves. How many of those does your wife know that you paid for?
Well, she knows I paid for most of them. She just doesn't know how much I paid for most.
This guy's
Like,
incredible.
if she was to go online right now and search something, we'd be divorced. We'd be divorced.
Dude, that's solved by one thing and one thing only, and that's you saying, "Hey, listen, this will make us very rich in 30 years when we retire." So just
Yeah.
investment
No
for the
shit.
win the
Yeah.
cup.
Investment for the kids.
So, you've got kids, right?
4 of them.
Wow, he's got 4 kids, and he's doing this to his basement.
That's why I'm allowed to. I got her strapped right in, man. 4 kids. I'm probably not supposed to say things like this online. Sorry, I'm very rough around the edges, fellas.
You're incredible, dude. You're like the greatest. We've
love
had the
you.
best show we've had in months today because of David and you. I mean, just listening to you talk about what you got going on there. So I have a million questions. Can I ask you one of them? It's like, do you have an alarm on the house? Yes or no?
I do, yeah. And I recently got insurance because I was scared of a fire.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got to get that appraised. Holy shit!
So hold it. You recently just got fire insurance. Is that correct?
Correct. I lost much sleep at night.
It was fired.
Somebody was downstairs. I was checking on the basements. I was like, I got to get some insurance.
You know, fire insurance or
Unbelievable.
beer
I
koozies.
can't believe you got that
Months.
bucket on your head. That's
Oh, hey, safety first while drinking, fellas. Are you kidding?
Yeah. No, I know.
100%.
Dude, and here's the thing. That's an Engvall bucket. I have to ask you, and I know Pierre Engvall has had a breakout season like Mickey has had a breakout season. You've had a couple of guys do some things this year where you're like, oh, fuck, maybe they were able to fill the void. But I don't know a bigger Pierre Engvall fan on the planet. How does one become a massive Pierre Engvall fan?
Well, for a few reasons. One, because he's a good player, and you always need those guys, those bottom six guys. Matthews can't score 5 goals a game, so you need these guys. Another reason is his stuff's a little cheaper. If you get into the Marner, Matt, Lander stuff, it's like 10 times the price, right? So
Yeah.
And I'm a fan of all the Leafs. I cheer more for the logo on the front than the name on the back. So I'm just happy having blue and white down here, no matter who it is.
And you're
Favorite
doing a
pieces?
service. You're doing a service to those guys, and you're propping them up as a fan. They need fans
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
God
sure.
damn it! Good for you.
What's your favorite pieces? What do you have that you're like, this
Yeah.
is like the crown jewel or jewels of my collection? What are they?
I got Matthews rookie worn gloves rookie season. So in 20 years, you know, if he hits the Hall of Fame, Leafs win a cup, whatever he's going to do, it's kind of cool to have something from his first season.
Yeah.
No shit.
Got Engvall skates, once again, Engvall, that he wore in his first NHL game and got his first NHL goal in. So
Wow.
that's
So
cool.
there's an attachment there too. It's not even just about the money. You're just like, fuck, I love this team. I love the moments they have, and I'm attached to those moments, and I'm gonna buy, pieces from those moments so I can go back and look at them. Is that correct?
I don't sell anything, or else it wouldn't get as ridiculous as it is, right? It just keeps coming in. I'm not buying to sell it or make money. I'm buying it because I genuinely, like having it. It's cool wearing, this season, the first season, I wear the bucket and gloves for the games. It's cool, to drink some beer, wear a bucket and some gloves, for the games. Just feel like you're part of the team. I'm ready to go in. Keith has practiced my drinking habit, but I'm ready to go in anytime if Sheldon Keefe's watching this.
Yeah, you're getting a
Kurtis.
good following out of this too, Curtis. Like you've got almost 8,000 people following you on Twitter. People love watching you. Like there's fans in the comments right now that are fans of our show that have made the crossover, saying they're giving your trademark "yes sir" in the comments. Is great.
Thank you. I started in November making videos, first time ever on social media, because it gets lonely out here in Redcliffe for not exactly kicking down the door to come watch a game, and so I started making videos in November, and I went from 38 followers to where it is now, and they're just such a great bunch of people. It's Leaf fans take we take a shit kicking from everybody else, so it's nice.
Yeah.
We have a group of people that support each other and are the good side of the fan base.
Decades of calluses.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. And well, like, how you feeling heading into the playoffs? You got several games left, but I mean, they set a record for a Leaf team for points. They're playoff bound. A little concerned about goaltending. Are you concerned think they get out of the first round? We're making a series of shirts hoping they don't get out of the first round. However, I know that you're hoping they do get out of the first round. Are you more hopeful this year, or are you like, we're going to get fucked in the first round again?
I'm hopeful every year. I'm starting to feel like we're to the point where we need to get out of the first round, because Leaf fans can only take so many Zamboni drivers and first round collapses, and now having the best season ever. If we do lose in 5 or something, it's going to crush Leafs Nation. I'll still tune in and put on the bucket next season, but it'll sting, because I really feel like this year we're doing something special.
Yeah, I do too. Do you invite people over to watch games with you, or are you one of those weirdos that has to watch it by himself? Oh, did we lose him?
We lost audio.
Lost the audio there, bud. We can't hear you.
I don't think he can hear us either.
No, I don't think he can hear us. We lost the audio.
I'm not sure what happened there.
Sorry, can you hear us, Chris? Yeah, we lost the audio. So just come back in if you can hear us. Pop out, come back in. Can you hear us now? No, we can't hear you. So leave this broadcast and then click on that link and come back in, and we should be able to hear you. It's very high-tech stuff around here.
You know what? I just want to comment quickly on something that he said, that he doesn't think that Leaf fans can take.
We got you, Curtis?
Yeah, sorry.
There we go.
Me there.
Okay, so sorry, answer the question, and then Locke has something to shit on Leaf fans about. Go ahead.
No. Go, Kurtis.
What was the question? Sorry, I don't lie. These Canadians are flowing there.
Do people come and hang out to watch games in your basement?
Well, there's not a lot of Leaf fans here for one thing. A second thing is, it's after working all day, I just want to come home at peace and quiet. No work, no kids, no entertaining, and I'm a finance manager, so I deal with the public all day. So the last thing I want to do is have somebody over here drinking my beer.
I feel that.
I plan on having people over and
I would come there.
I
would fly.
I would have a contest where we send people down to.
So do I.
To hang out with Kurtis.
So do I. I want to take a whole bunch of people to Red Cliff, Alberta, and like a whole bunch. I mean, like maybe me, Lachlan, and Linz, and maybe one winner. And I want to come to your house, and I want to go down into your basement, and I want to watch what happens. I want everybody to experience this because, like, fuck, dude, the incredible part is you've made a make work project like your enjoyment. It's like, you've surrounded yourself with all the bells and whistles because you're like, fuck, if I'm going to watch a game, I want to have the comforts of my favorite players and the logos, and I want to have game worn shit, and I'm proud of it. Like, you've turned this into an event. I'm shocked you don't have people going, hey man, can I come watch a game with you tonight?
No kidding.
Please? Is that okay? I'll bring my beer. I'll bring my own.
Just that
vibe. I'm shocked, people.
Right, it's Red Cliff. There's not you're in Red Cliff. It's oil country out here. Like, I know when you come to town, you say it's 45% of the building. Well, Calgary's got 1 million people or 2 million people. So yeah, we can get 9,000 fans together. But if you look in the big picture, it's definitely oil country. A lot of oil fans. All my son's friends are Oilers fans, and their dads are. My son's an Oilers fan. I don't want to talk about it.
It's okay.
I don't want to talk about it, but anyway, it's oil country out here.
Well, Kurtis, I want to just lean on something that you said about the team and where you guys are at, where the Leafs are at this year, and the constant disappointment over the years, and whether or not you can handle a quick exit from the playoffs. And I just want to say, whether or not you guys can handle it, I would really like to see it.
What? The world. I posted a TikTok video last night of my celebration, and it's like 190,000 views and 900 comments. 873 of them are talking about the first round exit. So I get it. I understand it's not happening. Go Leafs! Yes, sir. It's not happening.
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah, I'm sure. How many people just tweeted the letters or the word numbers 1967, or how many people tweeted out in the first round? And it's fucking awesome, dude, because it's almost like the Cubs when they didn't win the World Series for 113 years. It's like this great joke that continues to get perpetuated on really good people like Kurtis, who's like, this is the year at 108 points. We're going to fight. Yes, sir. And it's like, first round exit again. Buffalo, Boston. First round exit. It's just
born and died without seeing anything. Some guy sitting in his basement full of Cubs gear that died at 97. Cubs fan his whole life and didn't see a championship. I don't want to be that guy. They got
Well, Kurtis,
you won't know though. You'll be dead.
You got to help me out here.
Do you get to Toronto at all, Kurtis? Have you been out here much, or?
I went there in January, and then it got locked down. I still got to go see the game, which was super cool. But yeah, that was the first time I've been there for a game. So
was it like a cathedral to you when you went to when you watched the team play live? Cool. I know you've seen them play live, but at their home, when you show up, is it like
religious.
When crazy weirdos show up to big Notre Dame fans show up and they see the big house and they start crying? Were you like that too?
I was tearing up because the only time I've seen him play is in Calgary, and I show up with face paint and a cape on and this year I wore my helmet, and I tell you, I wasn't getting a ton of high fives on the way in, so it was Toronto.
Yeah,
Toronto,
awesome. Dude, it's a different town.
Yeah, we don't have fans like you here.
Show emotion. No.
Yeah, you go to Toronto, and the first the lower bowl is just full of guys that own grocery stores, and what they do is they bring their mistresses in. They do sushi in the half, between the periods, and they bang their mistress in the broom closet, and then they come out and they start watching the Leaf game halfway through. It's like this one thing. to a guy like you, when you watch Leaf games in the first like 5 minutes of every period, there's no one in the lower bowl. Like there's no one. And all the fans like you are in like the upper bowl. You're in like the grays, not the grays, like the purples even. Like you're fucking way up there. It's always the most depressing thing because if you go there live, if you go to the Air Canada Centre, now Scotiabank Centre live for a game, what you see is like a study in contrast of the elites and the fans. And the fans that are up in the upper bowl, they pay fucking $500 for shit seats. The people that are down in the lower bowl are only showing up for the free appetizers and, the business schmooze, and they go into the Air Canada Lounge. And like just down the road, Kurtis, you've got like Sabres fans that are paying $30 for a fucking pair of tickets on the rails, right? Like when you come to Toronto, it has almost nothing to do. The lower bowl has nothing to do with hockey and everything to do with schmoozing.
Yeah.
It must piss guys like you off.
$1,500 for an Instagram photo is what they're paying for.
Yeah.
No, it is what it is. I guess I watch from the house most of the time, and I guess it sucks that Toronto does that, but there's still a lot of good fans and but I don't really.
It's not just Toronto though. It's not just Toronto. It's turned into that. That the whole league is turned into that. I mean, there are depressed markets for different sports, and you can fly to Arizona and buy. You can fly to Arizona, get a hotel for the weekend, get tickets to the game, get drunk, feed yourself for what it costs for the pair of tickets in Toronto, right?
If you live here.
So it's just it's just the way it is. The demands there. They're gonna charge $700 for a pair of tickets.
Dude.
For one ticket.
Kurtis, if you sell everything in your basement, you might be able to afford one ticket to a playoff game.
Yeah,
It's true.
Don't do that.
I can't. I know with my luck, I'll sell it and then they'll win, and I'll freaking never sleep at night.
Yep.
Yeah, no kidding. Kurtis from Alberta is our guest. You can follow him at LeafGuy403 on Twitter. He is an absolute maniac for the Toronto Maple Leafs, Red Cliff, Alberta. Thank you for taking us on a tour of the man cave. That is exactly what I wanted. You are an absolute breath of fresh air, brother. And we hope to have you back from time to time, if that's okay. Maybe we'll check in on the playoffs with you, if that's all right.
Let's talk in the second round. I don't know who the guy is on the top right because my eyes are fuzzy, but I want to talk to him in the second round.
Oh, Lachlan. We're talking about Lachlan.
Yeah.
On the show in the second round.
That's fine. I you know what? I won't admit this in public, but I will cheer for the Leafs only when they're playing the Habs.
Oh, well,
because I hate the Habs more than anything. I'm more well known for my hatred for the Montreal Canadiens than I am. So you and I we have something in common.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, there we go. We can start there.
Second round, and we can laugh about the Habs together not making the play.
Well, that's exactly
Dean, I could have been vaping this whole time, man. I'm new to this freaking.
Oh, dude, do you have a vape with you? Go ahead, vape it up. We don't care.
Whatever
vape
you
it
like.
up, have a drink, dude. Half the time, Linz finishes his podcast just ripped, so no worries. We don't care. He's having a smoke right now in his house. That's how we roll.
Well,
Kurtis.
Thank you for having me on. Sorry, I'm a little rough around the edges. I was nervous. I've never done anything like that.
That's what we love about you.
Thank you.
No, you're fucking coming back.
You're the
Kurtis.
fucking best.
Actually,
don't
Lachlan,
apologize for being the best, dude. You're the best guest we've had in years. Like, this has been the best guest show we've ever had. So fucking don't ever apologize for being yourself.
Do you have a fourth spot in the locker room there?
Yeah, no shit. Hey, do you, Kurtis, do you know the Hislop family at all? Like, how long have you been in Red Cliff?
Here we go. Do you know John?
Oh, are we doing this?
Yeah.
17 years. Okay, it might be too long. It was further back then. My family left the Red Cliff region there quite a few years ago. But
just send him send him a 23andMe and see if you guys are related. Probably a good chance.
I'll get stabbed if I leave the house. I just go straight into the basement.
Kurtis, you're the best. Thanks for doing this, brother. Follow us, man.
Kurtis.
Leaf Guy 305. We'll talk.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We'll talk to you soon. There's Kurtis from Alberta. What a
Where
genuine
did you find
beauty.
that guy? Where did you find that guy?
You're welcome.
That is unbelievable. My God, what a fucking gem.
While you guys are working at jobs, generating income, I'm booking guests for me at the low price of $0. Okay.
We just get.
I am busy grinding it out, calling people. You know how much you got paid for that? Nothing.
You know
so
what?
while you guys are out feeding yourself, I'm in here calling guys like Kurtis going, hey, you want to come on the show so we can get paid?
You know what?
I'm calling
We
guys like
should've tried
Moscrop going, hey, bud, you want to come on the show so we can generate some income? That'd be great. So you're
We
welcome.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
Dean, we should have tried to sell him a Matthews goat shirt.
Sell him a Matthews goat shirt. We should try to give him a
Send him
Matthews
one.
goat shirt. Just send it
Fuck
to him,
no,
dude. He'd love it.
You keep complaining
you're
about
right.
not making any money. We got to
Yeah.
fucking whore these things. By the way, we've got a promo code coming at the end of the week for all the goat gear.
Oh, they're doing that.
Yeah, we're doing that.
Awesome.
Just a heads up on that.
Everybody catch that in the comments. Promo codes.
Promo
codes
code
coming.
for the goat gear. For the goat gear.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The goat's too big.
You want to make the goat smaller on the shirt?
Yeah, I do.
Like, fuck. Here we
I
go.
was like, it's the biggest goat I've ever seen. I'm like, fuck, why is the
put it
goat
up.
so big? And I didn't say anything when you guys like commissioned the goat pieces. And I'm like, goat's massive. It's a fucking big goat.
Let me see. I'm gonna have a look.
I'll get it
I
right
don't know
now.
if
It's
I
the
don't know if I
goatiest
agree with
goat that ever
I think the
goated.
goat, yeah, dude. Well, let's get it out. I'm gonna get
It
it
is.
right
It's
now.
a-
The Matthews goat
Whip the
T-shirt.
goat
We got
out,
the
would you?
Matthews goat cap. We got the Matthews ladies goat T-shirt at teamblundell.com, the shop. Let me
Okay,
just
hold
show you what we're dealing with here. Okay.
While you're
Because-
pulling, I was going to say, while you're pulling it, there was a great line in that comment
said-
section.
While you're
earlier.
pulling it,
Yeah, well, we're going to talk. You're pulling your goat. So while we were talking with Kurtis, somebody put up saying that when they introduce themselves to ladies in bars, they call themselves 3-goal lead because the lead always blow a 3-goal lead.
oh, that's nice.
I don't agree.
That should be
I
a
think
shirt
the,
somehow.
I think the goat's
here's the
good.
goat. This is
That's
the goat.
not too big.
That's huge.
Dude, the goat on the shirt is way too big. Needs to be a tiny goat right
Should
in
be
the
like a
middle of the shirt.
polo or a polo,
Yeah.
like a little Ralph Lauren polo.
I mean, I love it. You can go buy one for $28 to $32, depending on the size you're getting. Same with the ladies. Ladies Matthews goat T-shirt. You can
guys
also
always
get the
get
Matthews goat
fucked.
cap.
That's
Yeah.
because we need twice the fucking fabric for this 6XL.
Yeah, that's true.
Fuck.
Omar
Hey,
the tent maker.
Can I? There's some shit.
Okay,
we
I'll
didn't
get
to.
Scotty. I'll get Scotty to make the
Yeah,
the
make it
goats
smaller.
a bit smaller.
Okay,
I
some
don't know
stuff
if
we
I
didn't get
agree
to
with
this
you.
week.
Does everybody agree with Dean on this?
You asked
the goat too
everybody,
big?
like
Yeah,
just
it is a
people
little-
on the show.
It is.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
here,
Talking to the-
I'll put an instant poll into the comments and see what people think.
Is the goat too big? I think it's. I mean, everything else on the store is incredible. You can go get your Alex Slava Ukraine shirt. You donate the money to Ukraine, which we're doing. I think we're in and around $5,000-6,000 now. Which thank you very much. The GFY shirts, the Go Fuck Yourself / Good for You shirt. I mean, who doesn't want one of those?
Throw the goat
Everybody?
up again, real quick, Dean. Just
You wanna
so
see
people
the
get a
goat?
look. Yeah,
Alright.
because I just put the poll up. So
There's the goat. I think
Okay.
the goat on the shirt's too big. The goat on the
That'd be
hat's great. It's
yes,
a great little goat. But I mean, the 34 Matthews goat, if it's a little bit smaller, we're selling a shitload of these.
especially on the
shitload.
girls' shirt.
That's
The
true.
girls' shirt. That's huge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm thinking? Hiring to sell these shirts.
GFY shirts
Who?
are still available.
Who you gonna
GFY
hire?
shirts? I'm gonna hire this guy. That's Al Sabaka.
Carb Rock.
Do you know who he is?
Carb Rock.
He was up until yesterday the Zamboni driver for the Detroit Red Wings. Got fired yesterday. You know why he got fired? Any guesses? How would a legendary Zamboni driver who swung an octopus around his head for 30 years, multiple NHL championships, Stanley Cups, how does he get fired? Guesses?
Drinking problem.
No. Linz?
Cheered for the wrong team
No, he took a piss.
on the
Where?
ice.
Here's the deal.
No.
Sabatka, this is where we are in life, people. You cannot even take a piss without getting fired anymore. Sabatka drove one of the Zamboni machines into this garage at Little Caesars Arena after cleaning the ice in the main rink. Sabatka, according to the lawsuit, experienced uncontrollable urge to urinate. The nearest facility was 60 to 70 feet away, so instead Sabatka just took a piss in the drain that leads to the sewer. Designed to handle the ice runoff from Zamboni machines, dude took a piss. Big deal. The arena closed to the public and access is limited to the all-male crew. Here's the great part. He's not allowed to drive. He got fired because someone saw him do it. The lawsuit says, and I quote, a lawsuit laid bare the reason Al Sabatka no longer drives lawsuit, peeing in the drain. He was seen by someone else. Apparently, he was taking a piss between the two. If I'm not mistaken, where is that one? Yeah, right there. According to the lawsuit, experienced uncontrollable need to urinate, and he took a piss between two Zamboni machines. Someone saw him and went like this. I'm offended.
That guy's voting for Peter Polivy. That's what's gonna happen.
I'm offended that the Zamboni driver took a piss in a drain. And I'm telling, this is a fucking adult that went rolled on a legendary Zamboni driver for the Detroit Red Wings. Oh my God, Mr. Sabatka just took a piss in a drain, and because he couldn't. Dude has prostate issues, so he has these, and he's on medication for it. So he's got these uncontrollable need sometimes to just have a piss, right? Like a lot of old guys that have prostate issues do. And God forbid, it's not like he drinks a ton of water and eats like cranberries. Like, look at the guy. It's not like he's fucking a picture of health. So he lost his job because he whipped it out and took a piss, and he didn't think anybody was watching. And some 30-year-old douchebag who was looking for promotion went up to Steve Yzerman, and he's like, I thought I'll take a piss. I'm offended. What the fuck is wrong with us?
This is how Polivy is going to get elected.
I can't even tell you how many times I have urinated where I wasn't supposed to.
The people that complained. You could have asked David Moscrop.
I love peeing outside.
How many times he's peed outside? I guarantee you,
hundreds.
Yeah.
Do you know how many times I've just dropped trowel on the golf course and taken a piss in the middle of the fairway?
Oh my God!
Yes.
Do you know how many times I've dropped trowel behind a gas station because it was locked, and I'm like, I gotta piss. It's so bad, I'm gonna die if I don't piss. Like that one where you get that like lower wiener pain because you got to piss so bad, and your abdomen kills, and it's like I'm gonna shit.
My grandmother
pass out.
My grandmother owned a campground, Hislop's Highway Campground in Castlegar. When they left Redcliffe, they went to Castlegar, bought this campground. It was a dream of my grandfather's, and they ran that for quite a few years. My grandmother had it for like years after my grandfather died. And my grandmother would lose her mind when people that didn't pay for camping, for a camping spot, would use the bathrooms. So she got locks on the bathrooms. And I remember we had a big discussion. It's like, this is a bad idea. Like, don't do this, Grant. So when you signed in for the campground, you'd get the key to the bathroom, and you'd have access to the showers and the bathrooms, right? And it was right off the road. So you're asking for trouble. So one summer, I used to spend my summers helping my grandmother out. I'd go there, I'd mow lawns, I'd help her take care of the campground, I'd clean the bathrooms. So I think I was about 14, 15 years of age, something like that. And I went down to clean the bathrooms, and I'm walking up, and I can see something on the mat in front of the locked bathroom door. And the closer I got, the more and more I realized someone that went to use the bathroom that really, and when I say really needed to use the fucking bathroom. And it wasn't like it was tucked away. No, it was right out in the open. Dropped a huge piece of shit right on the welcome mat to the front of the bathroom door. And I swear to God, it was about that long. It was about that wide, and it was about that long. And it sort of tapered off
Campfire
and got thin on the one end.
Okay. Stop it.
You're killing him. He's dying.
No toilet paper, no napkins from the car. Just a solid.
How did they clean it up?
I turned around. I went up and I got my grandmother, and I walked her down, and I said, "That's why you shouldn't lock the bathroom doors."
Someone go get the backhoe.
So I just fucking folded up the mat and threw it in the dumpster. Next. It was like about 6 pounds of shit. It was insane. And from what I remember, too, black as night. Like, just
So whoever did that, you got to go look for someone with internal bleeding if it was all dark like that.
just black.
Starry stools.
Woo.
They were having a medical emergency and your grandmother
Yeah.
denied them. Oh, that's funny.
She's just like, I can't believe people are animals. And I'm like, people have to shit. And clearly that individual needed to.
Oh my God, that's funny.
People
Oh.
have to shit.
And that's
People
the
are
thing, this
animals.
poor guy.
Yeah, that shit. Everyone has to shit.
No,
We're the
this-
only animals that aren't supposed to shit outside, to be honest with you.
And this poor guy, it's not like he took a dump in that sewer grate. He hung a leak, for
Right.
Christ's sake.
Oh,
And
man,
because it's
sorry
gotten
for him.
And it's got so much attention, even if you know the backlash, he's not going to want to show his face
No.
again. The poor dude.
No.
That
Woke
sucks.
Canada and woke America suck.
Fuck that.
Suck ass. What a bunch of pussies. Holy shit.
I got the poll results if you'd like to know what they are.
Please. I don't
Okay.
even remember the poll, so tell
It
me
was the
about
goat.
both.
Is the goat too big?
Yeah, the answer is yes.
66% of people think the goat is too big.
Too big.
33% say it's fine.
Yeah. Well, go buy
Yeah.
it.
I'll get
that's in-
Scotty. I can get Scotty to make it a little smaller.
But listen, if
I'll
you
have
buy
it
it
on.
right now, it'll become like a weird limited edition thing because it'll be smaller by tomorrow.
right.
Hurry up
Yeah,
and go get it.
I don't
now.
know
All
if we'll get to it by tonight, but I will mention it. It's got to change 90 shirts.
Urgency sales, for Christ's sake.
Did you guys see the subway pushing in Toronto?
Oh my God.
Speaking
there
of
was
shit
another-
we didn't get.
somebody slashed somebody's throat last night too.
Yeah, dude. Don't
Our
take the
subway's
subway in Toronto.
Yeah.
Whatever you do. This happened the other day. A young
Oh,
lady.
the throat slitting was on the subway too?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah.
Last night at
Don't
midnight.
fucking take the
But
subway.
this is, the pushing thing's weird because it
In
was
Toronto.
a woman. Wasn't
Yeah.
it? A woman pushed another woman.
Yes, it was. A 45-year-old woman pushed a 31-year-old woman in the Toronto subway.
Yeah.
The video, the CCTV video, pardon me, was acquired by our friends at the Toronto Star. And they put the story out. It's since kind of gone viral. But watch this, dude. This is the most fucked thing I've seen in a long time. This is the subway in Toronto. If you see this crazy broad behind this other woman, so you can see the lady with the pink hat. She's got the mask on. This lady is standing here. I still find it fucking incredible that we don't have glass partitions between the subways and the actual like subway cars. It's
No
fucking
shit.
bizarre.
Yep.
Like if you go take the tube in England, they're everywhere. Same thing with France. Like there's no subway desk. Anyway, watch this because this is the most fucked thing I've seen in a long time. Boom.
Fuck.
That's a good like 7-foot drop, by the way. If you haven't been to the Toronto subway or taken the Toronto subway, that is
She
a
got
decent
out.
7-foot
She got
drop.
out, everybody. She got
She
out in
did?
time.
Yeah.
She was taken to the hospital. But watch this. So just and it was completely fucking unprovoked. It was like
Look, it looks
this
like they were
woman walks
talking.
up, 45-year-old woman walks up to this other person, and she just fucking shoves her. Never met her, never talked to her, no idea who that person is. And it was so bad that they took this woman to emerge, and she had serious injuries. And I
That
think she was
all did not
39.
look
Her name is Shamsa Al-Balushi is her
Yeah.
name, and she was pushed by a 45-year-old woman named Edith Frayne, who has just
Well, they
been.
know her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they picked her up
Because
already.
the
They got her.
story I saw this morning was they were looking for her.
No,
Do
they-
you know this person? Okay.
They got
Yeah.
her. Yeah, no, that's you know what though. Who and again, I don't mean to victim blame, but who the fuck is walking there? You know what I mean? Like, stay away from the edge of a track in a subway. Like, you just don't know how many of these fucking crazies are around you. You know,
That's not a common situation, though.
It-
Please tell me that's not happening on
That's-
a weekly basis at the
And I'm not-
subway, is it?
I'm not even talking about pushing.
Is
It
it?
doesn't even have to be that. It could just be somebody
Attacks.
walking. Yeah, it could be an accident. I'm in a subway. I'm against that wall. I've got a weird fear of that. It's odd. You know, like I get apprehensive near it.
We don't have a subway here in Edmonton. They're very anti to transit here. It's odd. They're very pro bike lane, but very anti. They're always slashing and cutting transit. So the people that are left on transit are it's just the bottom feeders, right? And you're taking your life into your own hand getting on the bus here. We have
Yeah, it's not like that
LRTs.
here though, dude. Like it's here.
Everyone
in Toronto,
takes
like
transit.
millions of people
Everybody.
use public transit.
Yeah.
Millions of people use it every day. It's like the ridership for public transit, whether it's subway, streetcars, the Go. I mean, it
Which
is
is-
like transit arteries going in and out with millions of
Yeah.
people every single day, right? Or every
They do
single
it
week.
way better. They
Yeah.
do it way better. We have walking speed LRT here. It's just fucking embarrassing.
Yeah.
Isn't Jimmy a transit user, Lachlan?
Yeah, heavy. Well, can't drive, right? Because he's got the glass eye and the shunt and
He's got a glass eye.
no, but that's the running joke.
Okay, never mind.
He's got a bit of a wobble,
A lazy.
Okay.
like if
Oh,
you,
he's got a
it's
lazy eye.
eye
Sleepy
from
eye.
the shunt. I think it actually was from the brain surgery that because they had to put a
All
tube
right.
in there to drain his head. So Grant started saying that he has a glass eye on the air. So
That is Lachlan Cross. You can listen to him and what he's talking about at 95.7 Cruise FM in Edmonton every single day.
there's a tease for the show.
Go to 957
Join them while they
cruisefm.ca.
make fun of a little person.
Who takes
It's
transit?
actually quite
He
entertaining.
just called him
actually.
a piece of bottom feeder because he takes the bus.
Yeah. Doesn't he take public transit? Sure does. He says.
He's been a little miserable this week too. He's been a fucking sorry sack of shit. So I've been making him take the bus after work. I pick him up in the mornings, and then when he's miserable, he's like, "Can I get a ride?" I'm like, I'd rather not. I think I'm just gonna drive home without you today. So
So listen to Lachlan's show. You'll hear a bunch of that. 957 cruisefm.ca. Listen anywhere you want in the world every single weekday morning. And follow him on Twitter at Lachlan Cross. Ryan Lindley, great podcast the other day as well. With,
Thank you.
It was great. Go the Sheeple Shepherd podcast. He's one of the hosts. Him and his lovely wife, Ashley, had Ray on the other day. Thought it was brilliant and great job. But make sure you subscribe to that podcast, Sheeple Shepherd podcast. Follow you on Twitter as well at Ryan Lindley. He's a great follow.
Thank you.
Ray from what podcast again?
It's called Dear Pats Nation for now.
Dear Pats Nation, and Ray is like the network's football expert.
Yeah.
Ray's a good guy. I'm a
Great
big
guy.
fan. He's
At
the reason why I'm a
DPN
Bills fan.
_
now.
Ray. Yeah,
He got
he's
me my new NFL team.
Yeah.
great dude.
Didn't get
Yeah,
you.
he was, and it's funny you get to see him outside of his football prowess into his actual professional gig, what he does for a living, and that's what we were kind of speaking to, and we used Ray as our panel expert, and it was great. What a fantastic guy, full of knowledge when it comes to mental health, childhood mental health. He had some very similar issues that I had, so we were able to relate on that as well. And
Smaller penis? Is that the issue? That
small
Very round
microphallus. We call it
Microphallus.
microphallus.
huge,
And
huge tip, small rod?
it's like a mushroom, like when you see it in the woods after it rained too much.
it. Yeah,
When it it's too
Yeah.
much rain. One of
like
those.
a button on a fur coat, really.
If you're actually in the streets of Binbrook, you're going to see me peeing outside right after the show because I'm pissed off about the Zamboni guy. So if you want to come see it,
It's an outdoor protest piss. Yeah.
I'm going to
Let's
take
do
a
the
dump
same.
behind my garage right downtown St.
For Al. I'm gonna take a dump outside today for Al.
That
No, dude,
outdoor
go.
shit's amazing, by the way.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know
not
what
the
it is.
worst.
Yeah,
It's
she
great.
comes out, flies out. If you're
Well,
if you're
because
squatting
it's
down
like your body
that.
knows that you're out in the open. It's
that's
like,
what
get
that
this out
squatty
fast.
potty thing's all about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, follow Ryan Lindley, Sheeple Shepherd podcast.
Your
Download,
knees
subscribe.
up by your ears.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you doing this.
Have a good day. Love you guys.
Talk to you soon. Love you too. Bye. Bye. See you luck. Bye, everybody. Bye. Bye. Have a great day. Thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Don't forget, say hi to our sponsors and friends at Easy Auto Financial. Easy Auto Financial. These guys are awesome at helping people get into cars, financing specifically. It's what they do. They don't charge for it. EasyAutoFinancial.ca today. And what they do is they'll get your financing, get you the car, and then they'll send you to the dealership that has the car that you want with the financing you didn't pay for. No obligation. Sign up at EasyAutoFinancial.ca today. Ed's Fine Imports and his Gitch. They're on me. They can be on you too. Boxer briefs, pouch in the front. They got the big pouch in the middle. They're super soft, dude. I love them. You're going to love them too. And they're only available at edsfineimports.com. GITCH3 is your promo code. Clothing for men and boys, massive online store, but get his Gitch as well. edsfineimports.com. And last but not least, Domination. Dominate with content by using domination.com. These guys are AI geniuses for people that produce content. So when you do a show like this, you take 2 hours, it's a file, you put it into this unbelievable system they've got at Domination. It spits out 72 promos in like 10 minutes. It's incredible. It takes all the guesswork out of production, takes all the guesswork out of doing promos and all that stuff. It's super tedious if you're on your own, or if you got a small business or you're a streamer, gamer, podcaster. All you have to do is use our friends at Domination, dmntn.com. Have a great day. Have a great day. Michael Geist, Dr. Michael Geist, the world's foremost expert on copyright infringement and the internet and ownership and shareability. I mean, this dude is about as smart as it gets. He's revered around the world. He's Canadian, and lucky enough that he's going to join us tomorrow at 3:30. We're going to talk about Bill C-18 and Bill C-11. C-10? Is it C-10 or C-11? I can't remember. Fuck. Both of those stupid liberal bills where they're like, we're going to police the internet and the CRTC is going to do it because Ian Scott's a doucher. Yeah. So anyway, Michael Geist is going to break that down. What it means to you, what Bill C-18 means to the person that is actually reading the news, to someone who's actually tweeting. Yes, they're coming after you. They want to tax you. They want to prevent you from saying things. Yes, Trudeau's government wants to prevent you from saying things, and they also want to help their friends in big media. That's what this whole thing's about. So don't forget to join us tomorrow because we'll break that down. Thanks to David Moscrop. Thanks to Kurtis from Alberta. Thanks to Lachlan and Ryan. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.